Ever heard the maxim, "Don't set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm"? It's a stark reminder that echoes through the annals of history and philosophy. Timeless lesson often lost in the rush to be endlessly giving. Picture this. Amidst the grand tapestry of Stoic teachings lies a poignant tale of an emperor who, faced with the burdens of an empire, realized the peril of giving too much of himself. He learned through trial and tribulation that true generosity begins with the self. Stoicism, more than a mere philosophy of endurance, reveals a profound truth: the art of giving without depletion, nurturing others while safeguarding one's own fortitude. Consider the modern parable of Jane, a devoted friend and colleague, known for her unwavering support and boundless generosity. Always the first to lend a hand, she found herself spread thin, her own needs unmet. Stoicism's wisdom would have guided her to set boundaries gracefully, to say no when necessary, not out of selfishness, but out of self-preservation. It teaches us that genuine kindness, like a wellspring, must first fill its own basin before overflowing into others. In today's frenetic pace, Stoic principles offer a roadmap to recalibrate our acts of kindness, to ensure they replenish rather than deplete. By prioritizing ourselves, we become better equipped to uplift those around us. This journey isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving, about finding equilibrium amidst the demands of life. Embrace Stoicism not merely as a philosophy, but as a practical guide to navigating the delicate balance between generosity and self-care. Number 1. Don't set yourself on fire. What happens when you give too much of yourself? Imagine a renowned entrepreneur who, despite their immense success, finds themselves perpetually drained and unfulfilled. They are always the first to offer assistance, stay late to help a colleague, take on extra projects. At first glance, they appear as the epitome of kindness and generosity. But behind the scenes, their personal life is in shambles, their health is deteriorating, and their passion for their work is waning. This scenario reflects a wisdom that Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher, emphasized centuries ago: the importance of self-care. He believed that our well-being is the bedrock of our ability to serve others. Without it, everything else crumbles. Let's delve into a powerful analogy to illustrate this point. Consider the contrasting habits of two neighboring professionals. One individual, who meticulously manages their own time and resources, ensures their own work is completed before assisting others. This person thrives, not just professionally but also personally, finding joy and fulfillment in their well-balanced life. Their success allows them to support colleagues and friends without feeling overwhelmed. Meanwhile, the other individual spends so much time helping everyone else that their own projects fall behind. Their desk is a mess of unfinished tasks, deadlines are missed, and stress mounts. In their quest to be endlessly helpful, they neglect their own needs, leading to burnout and frustration. The moral of this story is clear. True generosity requires balance and sustainability. As Epictetus, another Stoic sage, famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This wisdom encourages us to make deliberate choices about where and how we invest our time and energy. It teaches us to set boundaries, to say no when necessary, and to ensure that our acts of kindness do not come at the expense of our own health and happiness. Consider another example: a celebrated chef who dedicates hours to teaching aspiring cooks in their community. They are generous with their time and knowledge, yet they ensure their own restaurant thrives first. They understand that by maintaining their own standards and well-being, they can offer even greater value to others. In contrast, imagine a chef who spends so much time mentoring that their own restaurant suffers, leading to financial strain and diminished reputation. The Stoics would argue that the former chef embodies true generosity, a sustainable model that enriches both the giver and the receiver. Plato, another luminary of Western philosophy, emphasized the importance of self-awareness in generosity. Knowing oneself means recognizing our limits and understanding that genuine help is only possible when we are strong, not depleted. Carl Jung, titan of psychology, echoed this sentiment, suggesting that true fulfillment comes from within, not from external demands. In the fast-paced, always connected world we live in, it's easy to fall into the trap of being perpetually available, always ready to help. But this path often leads to feeling undervalued and taken for granted. Remember, setting boundaries is not a sign of weakness or selfishness. It's a powerful statement of self-respect and an essential step towards healthy, balanced relationship. By valuing our own time and energy, we teach others to value them too. So next time you're faced with the choice to give, reflect on this. Is your help sustainable? Are you preserving your own well-being? The ancient Stoics guide us to practice kindness with wisdom, ensuring that in our quest to be generous, we don't forget to be kind to ourselves. After all, you can't pour from an empty cup. Number 2, the joy of giving without expectation. Have you ever wondered why acts of kindness sometimes leave us feeling empty rather than fulfilled? Why do we often find ourselves hurt when our generosity isn't reciprocated? Let's explore this together through a deeply personal lens. I remember a time when I poured my heart into helping a friend through a difficult period. I was there at every turn, offering support, advice, and a shoulder to cry on. But when I found myself in need of similar support, my calls went unanswered. It was a painful lesson in the reality that not everyone gives as freely as we might. Research by social psychologist Dr. Robert Emmons shows that while practicing gratitude can significantly boost our happiness, the expectation of gratitude from others can have the opposite effect, leading to feelings of resentment and disappointment. This aligns perfectly with Stoic wisdom, which teaches us to focus on the purity of our actions rather than their outcomes. Generosity, at its core, is about giving without strings attached. The Stoics, like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, emphasize that true generosity stems from the joy of the act itself, not from the hope of recognition or reward. It's about seeing the happiness on someone's face and feeling content knowing you've made a positive impact, no matter how small. Think about a time when you did something kind without expecting anything in return. How did it make you feel? Reflecting on these moments can remind us of the intrinsic value of kindness. Epictetus, another Stoic philosopher, wisely noted that we have control over our actions, but not their results. This perspective can liberate us from the disappointment of unmet expectations. By focusing on what we can control, our intentions and actions, we protect ourselves from the emotional toll of feeling unappreciated. Let's consider a new example. Imagine you bake cookies for your neighbors simply because you love to bake and share joy. You don't do it hoping for a thank you note or a reciprocated gesture. You do it because it feels good to spread a little happiness. This kind of giving is pure and fulfilling. How can you apply this principle in your own life? Think about a specific situation where you can offer kindness without seeking anything in return. What steps can you take to ensure your generosity remains a source of personal joy rather than a cause of disappointment? By embracing this mindset, we not only safeguard our own well-being, but also cultivate a form of generosity that is self-sustaining and deeply rewarding. Let's strive to give freely but wisely, ensuring our kindness enriches us, regardless of how the world responds. If you found this perspective valuable, please subscribe to our channel and share your own stories and reflections in the comments below. How has giving without expectation changed your life? Your experiences can inspire and uplift others. Number 3, the necessity of setting boundaries. Why do we find it so hard to say no? In a world where everyone seems to need something from us, our time, our energy, our attention, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. This relentless demand on our resources isn't just a modern phenomenon. Imagine the royal courts of history, where attendants were expected to cater to every whim of their monarchs, from dressing them to personal hygiene tasks. Fast forward to today, and it's clear, the expectations have shifted. The pressure remains. Consider the case of a renowned entrepreneur, Emily, who thrived on helping others. She was always the go-to person, the one who never said no, and who took pride in her ability to support her colleagues and friends. However, this constant availability began to take its toll. Emily found herself exhausted, her own projects languishing, and her health deteriorating. Her once boundless energy was now a rare commodity, and she started to feel resentful and used. This brings us to the wisdom of Stoicism, a philosophy that teaches the importance of boundaries and moderation. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, wrote extensively about the need to preserve our own well-being to be of true service to others. His meditations remind us that our first duty is to ourselves. Without self-care, our ability to help others is compromised. Let's delve into a real-life example. A mother who, out of love, did everything for her daughter. This over-involvement prevented the daughter from developing her own life skills. It was only after the mother's passing that the daughter was forced to stand on her own feet. This story highlights a profound truth. Excessive support can stunt personal growth. The philosopher Seneca observed, "He who begins to be your friend because of the benefit will also cease because of the benefit." This suggests that relationships built on transactions rather than mutual respect are inherently unstable. True connections should be based on genuine interactions, not on what we can provide. How can we apply this in our daily lives? By setting boundaries, we protect our well-being and encourage self-reliance in others. Imagine a teacher who spends all their time helping students outside of class hours. While their intentions are noble, this can lead to burnout. Instead, by setting clear boundaries, offering help during designated times, they ensure they remain effective and maintain their passion for teaching. Studies in psychology reinforce this. Dr. Robert Emmons, a leading researcher in gratitude, found that while helping others can boost our happiness, overextending ourselves can lead to stress and burnout. Balancing our generosity with self-care allows us to sustain our ability to help others without feeling depleted. In modern society, where the line between work and personal life is often blurred, setting boundaries is crucial. It's not about being selfish. It's about being realistic and sustainable. How can you incorporate this Stoic principle into your life? Think about a specific situation where you can set a boundary to preserve your energy. What steps can you take to ensure that your kindness does not come at the expense of your well-being? Number 4. The danger of being seen as too available. Have you ever found yourself feeling unappreciated and exhausted because you're always the one who drops everything to help others? It's a common scenario that many of us experience, and it raises an important question. Why do we sometimes feel undervalued despite our best efforts to be supportive? I remember a time when I was always the first to volunteer for extra projects at work. I wanted to be seen as reliable and indispensable. But over time, I noticed that my contributions were taken for granted. Colleagues would assume I'd handle any last-minute task, often without a word of thanks. This experience left me feeling resentful and depleted, far cry from the fulfillment I had hoped to achieve. Research from the Harvard Business Review suggests that being too available can lead to being perceived as less competent and even less trustworthy. This paradox highlights a critical insight. Without boundaries, our efforts to help can be misinterpreted as weakness rather than strength. Let's consider the real-life example of a prominent tech CEO who, in the early days of their company, took on every role, from marketing to customer service, to ensure the business's success. Their relentless availability and hands-on approach were crucial at first, but as the company grew, this lack of boundaries led to burnout. Eventually, they had to learn to delegate and set clear limits to preserve their energy and effectiveness. This shift not only improved their well-being, but also commanded greater respect from their team, fostering a more sustainable and respectful work environment. The wisdom of Stoicism, particularly the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, can guide us here. He wrote, "It's not the actions of others that disturb us, but our judgments about those actions." This perspective encourages us to focus on what we can control, our own actions and responses. By setting boundaries and learning to say no, we not only protect our mental and emotional health, but also demonstrate self-respect. Think about a time when you felt taken for granted. How did it make you feel? Reflecting on these experiences can help us understand the importance of boundaries. Setting boundaries isn't about being selfish. It's about maintaining our integrity and ensuring we have the energy to support others when it truly matters. Dr. Brené Brown's research on vulnerability and shame supports this approach. She found that people who set clear boundaries are not only happier but also more compassionate. By valuing our own needs, we create a foundation from which we can genuinely and sustainably support others. Imagine a teacher who dedicates countless hours to after-school tutoring, sacrificing personal time and well-being. Initially, this might seem like an admirable commitment, but over time, can lead to burnout and a diminished capacity to teach effectively. By setting boundaries, perhaps by limiting after-school sessions to certain days, they preserve their energy and passion for teaching, ultimately benefiting their students more. In our daily interactions, how can we apply the principle of setting boundaries? Consider a specific situation where you can assertively say no, protecting your time and energy. What steps can you take to ensure your generosity remains a source of strength rather than a burden? By embracing Stoic wisdom and setting healthy boundaries, we cultivate relationships built on mutual respect and genuine care. We teach others to value our time and energy, creating a ripple effect of respect and understanding. As you navigate the demands of your day, remember that setting boundaries is a powerful act of self-respect and an essential step toward balanced, fulfilling relationships. If you found this discussion insightful, please subscribe to our channel and share your own stories and reflections in the comments below. How has setting boundaries improved your life? Your experiences can inspire and guide others on their journey to finding balance. What does it mean to truly value yourself? After journeying through the nuanced terrain of Stoic philosophy, we've explored the delicate balance between kindness, boundaries, and self-care. Profound realization we arrive at reshapes not just our actions, but our entire approach to life. Stoicism, with its ancient roots and timeless wisdom, isn't about retreating from the world or hardening our hearts against the needs of others. It's an invitation to engage with the world more deeply and wisely, with a clear understanding of our own boundaries and a steadfast commitment to our inner peace. Let's consider a few key strategies inspired by Stoic principles that can help us lead a more balanced and fulfilling life. 1. Eliminate the fear of saying no. Reflect deeply on why the word no often feels so heavy. Many of us were taught that being nice equates to being accepted, leading us to fear rejection if we refuse a request. Stoicism encourages us to challenge these ingrained beliefs. By asserting boundaries and saying no when necessary, we reclaim our autonomy and demonstrate self-respect. It's not about isolation, but about making deliberate choices that honor our well-being. 2. Pay attention to your feelings. Stoicism nudges us towards introspection and mindfulness. By observing our reactions and feelings, especially in acts of generosity, we can gauge whether our actions elevate us or drain us. True fulfillment in helping others should feel uplifting, not exhausting. Recognizing when our contributions start to erode our peace is a courageous act of self-care, ensuring that our benevolence remains a source of joy. 3. The art of giving without expectation. Embrace the purity of action as the Stoics did. True generosity doesn't seek recognition or reward. It gives because it's the right thing to do. By finding joy in the act of giving itself, we liberate ourselves from the disappointment, unmet expectations. This mindset not only enriches our lives, but also fosters genuine reciprocal relationships based on mutual respect. The necessity of setting boundaries. In our always-on world, setting boundaries is crucial. It's not about turning our backs on those in need, but about safeguarding our well-being so we can truly be of service to others. By defining what we will and will not accept, we create internal order and maintain our integrity. This balance ensures that our acts of kindness are sustainable and do not come at the expense of our health and happiness. These strategies align with the teachings of Stoic sages like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, who understood that inner peace isn't a passive state, but the result of conscious, deliberate choices about how we engage with the world and where we set our limits. By living according to these principles, we not only protect ourselves from burnout, but also inspire those around us to find their own balance. As we draw this journey to a close, remember that the path of Stoicism is not one of isolation, but of profound engagement with the world. It's about cultivating an inner sanctuary of peace from which we can extend our kindness and generosity without losing ourselves in the process. This wisdom, ancient yet so vital today, invites us to live fully, embracing the delicate balance between giving and preserving, between being there for others and honoring our own needs. If you found this discussion valuable, please subscribe to our channel, hit the bell to get notified about new videos like this video, or simply comment with the number 4 if you agree with the content. Let's continue to grow together, to inspire and be inspired as we navigate the beautiful complexity of life with wisdom, courage, and a boundless heart. Thank you for sharing this moment with me and for being an integral part of the Stoic spirit.